The menswear and men's fashion industry has had its fair share of ups and downs, ranging from quality control issues to fashion snobs. And the men's fashion culture, I feel like in recent years has gotten better. It's been a lot more fun, it's been a lot more intuitive. So many new faces, so many new brands, smaller niche brands, and just so many new interesting creatives and designers that are all playing their part to really uplift and uphold the new menswear scene, a new menswear culture. And one of those creatives is one of my favorite people, my friends. You're so surprised.
You were talking about me. I didn't know you were talking about me. I'm like, where's he going with this?
I'm keeping that. Anyways, this is Nick from Stridewise. He's one of my favorite people. We recently got connected last year, and he took a lot of faith in me when I had just started out this channel, and I'm forever grateful to Nick at Stridewise. Thank you so much for that. And I'm so excited to have you on this channel.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be here. This is a good topic to get into.
Yeah.
Today's video, it's a rant.
Yeah,
it's like a nice long rant, and
we're just gonna complain the whole time.
I know. It's funny though, right? Because we both put out like a lot of content, but I think my favorite video I've done in like the last year was just it was a rant video. It was called like the 10 dumbest things about boot collectors.
Yeah.
And it's because I'd been writing it in my head for years beforehand, and it was just like it was just all built up and all came out on that video. And everything else I tend to write the day before, but that one had been simmering for a while.
Yeah.
And that's like what this video is.
Let's start off with the first thing. I can't stand a gatekeeping snob. I mean, it's not only detrimental to whoever is inquiring about whatever you're wearing, it's just rude, but also to the brand itself, because especially with smaller brands, I mean, tell me if you agree or disagree, but smaller brands, they invest so much in marketing materials. They depend so much on sales, not just wholesaling, but just sales to the end consumer as a whole. And if you're keeping that away from the general public, if you're really trying to gatekeep that, the brand isn't expanding, the reach is not expanding, they're not making as much money as they could, if that makes sense.
What's an example of gatekeeping snobbery?
I'm just like, if I ask someone like, oh, where'd you get this denim shirt from? And they're like, oh, I can't tell you. Oh, it's this one brand. You know what I mean? Like, some people will do that. I've had that happen to me so many times.
Really?
And it's funny because I love educating people and telling them where I get my clothing from. I love spreading the word, especially for brands that I actually really care about. And it's just shocking to me that people would try and gatekeep brands or clothing that they like simply out of just, I don't know, lack of self-esteem. Who knows?
What's funny about it is in the whole world of menswear, which you would think is its own niche, there are sub-niches in that, right? And and the more you niche down, the more gatekeeping you get. So I mean, I spend a lot of time talking about boots on my channel. I cover everything from $200 boots to like $2,000 boots, and there's a whole bunch of in between. And especially the more expensive you get, the more snobbish people get about it. Yeah. And you get to a point where people are like, if your boot is, if it's not hand welted instead of Goodyear welted, which is like a machine, then it's a trash boot. And you'll have these guys, like you see it on Reddit, right? The subreddit is like Goodyear welt. But you'll have like guys coming into it, and let's say they've just bought like a pair of like Thursday boots, which are $200, and they're like, yeah, I really like these boots. I'm getting into the hobby more. I'm thinking about like maybe some Red Wings, like maybe later on down the road. Yeah. And they'll come in with this like wide-eyed enthusiasm of a newcomer to the area. And then the guys who only buy like $1,000 Japanese boots will just dismiss them out of hand and be like, going, if you're wearing Thursday boots, you're an idiot. Can't believe anyone would even wear that.
It's just too much.
They'll just talk shit to you, and they'll dissuade people from getting into the hobby at all. So someone might be interested in it, and then they'll be like, they'll get yelled at by the snobs, and they'll just like lose interest in the whole thing when they could have had a new member of that hobby.
It's crazy that you mentioned that. The raw denim community back then used to be exactly like that, and I know you remember that on Super Future and all those forums and stuff like that. I mean, it was crazy. It was, if you wore your jeans for 3 months and washed them, you were banished. You know what I mean? I still have PTSD from
but also
from the old raw denim culture.
And like, what if you have stretch in your
denim? That was so silly.
You're in big trouble.
That was so silly, yeah. Another thing that I really, really hate, and I actually did a video on this earlier on the channel. If you haven't checked that out, make sure to check that out later too. Garments coming in that look completely different from what they were on the website, as they were advertised, how they look on Instagram. Like, I understand a little differently. I mean, you want to boost vibrancy on your photos or whatever, but when the garment looks completely different, it's disheartening. And it's frustrating because I almost feel like I waste money on these things, you know, and I waste time having to either send things back, or if I just end up settling with it, you know, it sucks. It really truly sucks.
It's interesting because with leather stuff that I've worked with a lot, you are taught, and a lot of brands have like a little asterisk on the product page, like leather's a natural material, there are natural inconsistencies, not every single piece of leather is going to be the exact same color, so expect some variation, and that's like fine. But there's a lot of times when the way it looks, like Thursday Boots does this a lot, honestly. Like they've got like a natural Chrome XL service boot, and that is normally like just like a pretty muted tan color, and on the website they look like solid gold. But when you get them, they look a bit closer to this color.
Yeah.
And it's like that color, that picture's been on the site for years, and people are always like, I thought I was gonna get these really glossy, shiny, chromy boots.
It just doesn't exist.
They got something more versatile when they get it, but it wasn't what they expected.
So funny enough, the video that I was talking about was actually on Samurai, and don't get me wrong, I love Samurai's denim, I love Samurai Japan, but when I initially bought the Samurai jeans that I did the video on the website, and it's actually still up to this day, it looks significantly brighter and a lot more green cast. It came in and it was so almost purple. Don't get me wrong, I love the jean, it's the 21 ounce jean. You know, on the website it looks absolutely beautiful, and it looks good when it came in too, but it just wasn't what I was looking for. So I was disappointed with that jean. I just think that there has to be a touch more color transparency when it comes to like photography and marketing material.
But there's another side of this, which is you'll see a character on a TV show wearing some clothing, and it looks great on them, and you buy it, and it doesn't look the same because you'll later find out that they get it tailored. A big example is Kami's shirt on the bear.
Yeah.
That's from Mersby Schwanen, this brand here. His shirt was actually tailored a little bit for his body on that shirt.
Specifically on the biceps.
Right, so that show exploded the popularity of the brand. If someone wears something on a show and you think that looks really good, just keep in mind, decent chance that it's been tailored a bit for their body type. But the good news is you can also get yourself tailored for your body type. It's just gonna add an extra $50.
Yeah. Another thing that really bothers me is inconsistency in sizing for the same brand, similar items, but they just fit completely different. And you know, a brand that I used to buy from a lot is very notorious for this. I used to buy a lot of Supreme. Unfortunately, I was a hype beast in my past life. I still am now. But the inconsistency in sizing from that is just insane. And it's definitely happened with other brands as well. That's just the first example off of my head.
My favorite, the only shirts that I really wear, button-up shirts, are from a company called Teddy Stratford that I really, really like, just because I like the fit, like because it's a more kind of tapered fit that I like. But the inconsistency between sizing is rough on them throughout the years, but also sometimes I'll get multiple like different models with the same size and they'll all fit differently. And for smaller brands, this is the trouble because small brands are usually the more interesting ones, but small brands also, it's a lot harder for them to be consistent with fits because that's like a really, really rigorous quality control and you need really dedicated staff keeping an eye on the entire production process. So like for small brands, that's the bummer. The small brands usually have the coolest clothes, but it's harder for them to do consistent sizing.
Yeah.
And it's a and I don't like to be too judgmental about it because like it's like a budget thing a lot of the time.
And at the end of the day,
spend a lot of money on doing that.
And at the end of the day, it is ready to wear, so like they have to fit the average American in all these native sizes, or these alpha sizes is what they call them.
Quality control, it sounds like such like a boring part of the production process, and like it is to watch, I guess, as an external person. But half of their job is like measuring everything, making sure that it's consistent, and then like just sending it back if it's not, because it can really mess up a brand if they get a reputation. That Brave Star is another one that has a big reputation for inconsistent sizing.
Yeah, I've heard
it's like
that.
They have the cheapest salvage you're probably going to find, at least for made in America. And people go, why is that? And part of it is like the denim isn't like the coolest denim in the entire world, but also it's because you can tell where they're saving a bit of money because they don't have a very rigorous quality control in the sizing.
You know, it's tough because I actually work for a brand and I do manufacturing, as everyone knows, unless you're new here. But the thing when you're working with manufacturers, if you don't have your own factory, which pretty much nobody really does unless you're a huge brand, is that the factory itself enforces its own quality control, and they have rules which are called tolerances. And basically with tolerances, when they do that last minute measuring, like you said, there's a half-inch tolerance, a quarter-inch tolerance in the sleeve. There's tolerances where it could be slightly different to a degree, and the manufacturer will still charge you for that garment, ship it out, they won't remake it. So at the end of the day, if you're not doing your own manufacturing, then it becomes a problem because it's out of your control. And that's just the way that the industry works.
Yeah.
So you know, it's a problem.
On the note of sizing issues, one thing that we do really like is when brands offer different cuts, like different fits for the same products.
Yeah, different fits, but for the same garment. Like, the first one that comes to mind is Wyeth. I love Wyeth. If you guys have been on the channel, you know that. On their Oxford button-down cloth shirts, they offer a tall, they offer a short, they offer regular, they offer extra room in the neck for the same exact style Oxford cloth shirt, which is really remarkable, especially for a small brand like that, because it's so much money to do that.
One other thing is, what bugs me is brands that don't do different inseams. I have like weirdly, I'm 6 feet tall, but I've got like a 28-inch inseam. I got really short legs. That means that if I buy something and I look at the price on the site, what is it, like $20 to that, because that's
you have to get everything hemmed,
that's what
right?
I'm gonna cost. That's what I'm gonna pay getting it hemmed. And like they know me well because I'm always in there getting stuff altered.
Yeah.
But yeah, God.
With a 28-inch inseam.
And if they do get it, and they might offer a 32-inch and a 30, and I'll buy 30, and usually it's fine. But I'm still turning up the cuffs like just a little bit. It's never quite what I want because it's just short ass inseam.
See, I have the opposite problem. I have a very short torso and very long legs. Imagine, like, after we do a comparison, but I have like a 34-inch inseam, and that's common in like higher end, like raw denim brands or higher end pant brands. But when it comes to like suiting or like sweatpants or like, you know, just real casual garments, you know what I mean? And it's like, can I get a longer pant, bro? Like,
that's why you get into raw denim, because that's like the only place that'll
That's
fit your
the
jeans like a 36-inch inseam.
They do that with the purpose of, you know, you're gonna hem the jeans, you're gonna get them chain stitched afterwards. I have never gotten a pair of my raw denim hemmed because I haven't had to.
Because you got long ass legs.
Yeah, I have long ass legs, bro.
I'm built like an otter, like a corgi, like a corgi dog. The last thing that I was thinking of is stuff that like I really hate, when brands have a lack of transparency about how they're made or where they're made,
where the fabric's from,
or if they've changed anything recently about it. Like nobody does that.
Yeah.
Like one thing that everyone should do is tell you where the product is made. I've got nothing against stuff being made in China or Guatemala or Mexico, whatever. But
they make great stuff.
But let me know where it's made, and that'll help me to assess if the value for money is good or not.
Yeah, that's part of the buying process at the end of the day.
A lot of places will just say imported. And it's
I see that all the time.
All right, like if it's
it
imported from Canada, like this is a good price.
Yeah.
If it's imported from China, probably not. Like Huckberry has this thing where they've got some pants made in Indonesia and they say sustainably made in Indonesia. But there'll be no information anywhere else. There'll be no page on their site saying, take a look inside our factory. Like, all right, if you just say made in Indonesia, all right, I'll let it slide. If you're trying to convince me sustainably made, like, show me. Or define that. Or let me know what you mean by that. One brand that does this the best of anyone I think I've seen is Nudie Jeans.
Yeah, Nudie is so good with it. They literally have a map on the website, and if you click on where's the cotton grown, it will take you to exactly where it is. They'll tell you actually the manufacturer or the farm where they got it from, which nobody does.
They'll tell you where the rivets come from as well.
Yeah,
they'll
everything.
say where the stitching comes from.
It's crazy.
And like they'll be like, you know, the rivet here comes from here, but it was stamped in this factory, but the metal was mined from here, and we made sure it wasn't like child labor and da-da-da-da. Like that stuff. It's cool. It's cool when a brand does that. That's it. That's all my complaints right now.
Yeah. We have a lot more, but
I'll text you at midnight. I'm like, and another thing.
Yeah, right. But Nick and I have to shoot B-roll. I spent too much time being unorganized and tripping over my own words on his videos. But make sure to check out the videos that we're gonna do on his channel, as well as his other videos on his channel. I've been watching him for 5-6 years now. I mean, it's crazy to even be here with this fine gentleman here. I mean, it's insane. So thank you for coming on. And
my pleasure.
Is there anything else you want to plug?
No, that's it.
Did I do it?
My
right?
channel, yeah. Come say hi. Yeah.
All right. Having an epiphany right now.
Okay.
Oh man. All right. Well.
Okay.